What is going on, y'all? On today's video, we're looking at what I think is truly one of the most unique and irreplaceable neighborhoods in all of the Twin Cities. There's a degree of, I don't know, grandeur, aspirational neighborhood happening here, and this is Summit Hill, St. Paul. I'm walking down Grand Avenue. You have all these shops, but you also have these residential buildings, multifamily, single family, some mixed use as well here. So many cool opportunities within this neighborhood. I'm excited to share it with you. Let's go. How's it going, friends? My name is Jesse Lynch and I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To The Twin Cities, and you can check out our website, tothetwincities.com. But this YouTube channel, it's all about helping you find a place to call home in the Twin Cities, or helping you find the right buyer for your home in the Twin Cities. First-time home buyers, relocations, and just the best listing videos, the best presentation of a listing to the world. That's what we do, and that's what we do better than anybody else. So if any of that is of interest to you, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, subscribe to this channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see every time we're putting videos like this out. And if you wouldn't mind, give the video a thumbs up, say something funny or nice or whatever in the comments, and I would appreciate that very, very much. And yeah, as always, if you want to work with us, we would love to help. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less, or you can just shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. They lead to the same spot. All good, up to you what you do. Right now, I'm in the Crocus Hill neighborhood. This is it's really a street. It's a beautiful, beautiful road with some of the prettiest houses in the Twin Cities. I know I say that a lot, but truly, Crocus Hill, Summit Avenue, two of the most beautiful streets in all of the Twin Cities. And I'm actually gonna do something different here. I'm gonna hand this off to Steve and Nick from the team. They're gonna take you through from their perspective, because I've already done a video on Summit Hill. So I thought, let's do another one where they're talking you through Summit Hill. Sound good? Good.
Okay, what's up? It's Steve and Nick. We're trying this sans Jesse this time. We'll see how it goes.
We got it.
Yeah, we've done a few of these in the past. We can do it. Anyway, we're here in Summit Hill, one of the most historic neighborhoods in all of the Twin Cities. Beautiful, beautiful fall day here in St. Paul. Right off the bat, interesting thing about Summit Hill, it is home to one of the longest continuous stretches of Victorian era homes in all of the United States of America. Summit Avenue is the spot where that is located. And yeah, just some of the most incredible, stately, majestic homes that you'll see anywhere in the Twin Cities. And honestly, pretty much anywhere in America.
It's idyllic and picturesque, and maybe we'll give you a spin here and show this one just so you can get an idea.
I mean, we're not on Summit Avenue right now. We decided to shoot just a block off just because a little bit noisy, so that's you know, a little bit on the con side of living on Summit. But yeah, just incredibly, incredibly beautiful area.
Yeah, picturesque and idyllic, definition of. As far as the description of the location, so Steve and I are currently kind of in the eastern portion of the Summit Hill neighborhood. We are in the greater, what we describe as the lower triangle, which is east of the river, south of 94, kind of northwest of West 7th and the river. At any rate, Summit Hill is kind of a smaller shape of that. Your borders are going to be Summit Avenue to the north, kind of to the south and the east. Like we just mentioned, you've got 35E that kind of runs through the lower triangle area of St. Paul. And then to our west, we've got Aid Mill Road, which just on the other side of that, you're gonna have McAllister Groveland, Another really beautiful area of St. Paul. We do have more videos on those. Check those out.
Very popular spot, absolutely.
But that's where we're at right now today.
Okay, and we are approximately 15 minutes from downtown Minneapolis, only 5 minutes from downtown St. Paul. Super close, downtown St. Paul. And about 10 minutes from, give or take traffic, but about 10 minutes from the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport.
Yeah, super close. It's actually a really convenient location. Sometimes when you're in the cities proper, it can be a little bit of a challenge to get out, but where we're at specifically, just given the proximity, especially to 35E and 94 is not super far away.
Yeah, very close to 94. Yeah, easy to hop on there. It is a pretty, relatively speaking, a smaller neighborhood of St. Paul. Population is just over 7,500. But yeah, it is, one of the most desired areas in all the Twin Cities. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the schools in the Summit Hill that service the Summit Hill neighborhood here in St. Paul. So overall, the St. Paul Public School District gets a B-, which is like not surprising for a public school district that's located within one of the cities, Minneapolis to St. Paul. Yeah, typically school districts get higher grades as you move out of the city center.
As a rule of thumb.
Yeah, I mean,
there
just
are
kind of
individual schools that are higher rated, but we tell people that.
Yeah, for sure, generally speaking. So yeah, the public schools district in St. Paul overall gets a B-. But yeah, Nick, tell them a little bit about the high schools.
Yeah, so for the high school situation over here, again, like Steve mentioned, these are nearby schools that service this area. So starting off, you've got Cretin-Durham Hall. It's a private school. It's west over in the Mac-Roland area. I want to say it's off Cleveland. They get an A+. Again, that is a private university.
Very well regarded.
Excuse me, high school.
Yeah, very, very well regarded private high school.
Yeah, the St. Paul Performing Arts School gets an A-, and then the Central High School, which is up off of Lexington, I believe, gets an A. So the high schools overall are all graded A, give or take.
Yeah,
so
very, very
options.
well. Yeah, high-ranking high schools here that service the Summit Hill area. And what's kind of interesting is that the high schools are actually higher rated than the middle schools in the area. So there's two public middle schools. Laura Jefferson Academy gets a B+, and Hidden River Middle School gets a C+. So kind of like in the middle range there. Which is, yeah, kind of surprising. We were just chatting, like typically it's the other way around, the high schools.
Yeah, elementary and middle schools tend to be stronger
in the cities,
in the urban areas, and then the high schools get better as you move out, like we mentioned. It's kind of the inverse here, so.
For sure, and then there are three public elementary schools. They all get in the C+ range. Shout out to Bradford though, check out our schools channel that we're putting together if you want way more in-depth information about all of these different school districts that service these different parts of the Twin Cities, for sure. And one last one that I want to mention on the subject of schools, there is a public charter school that's K through 12 that I was just reading about called the Nova Classical Academy. It does receive an A+, that services Summit Hill. Very interesting sounding school. Yeah, check that out if you're interested.
All right, y'all, we're gonna talk a little bit about the housing stock, one of my favorite things. Steve and I are both a little more data driven, so
for sure,
I like geeking out about that. But at any rate, in the Summit Hill neighborhood, most of your inventory is going to be these large, stately homes, large lots, Victorian, craftsman style homes.
Super old, lot of, you'll see, this is probably the highest density. This might not be an exact data point, but anecdotally, probably the highest density of 1800s literally built in the 1800s single family homes.
100%. A lot of the wealthy families and titans of industry lived over here since it was right on the river and whatnot. But so you've got mostly those, and then you might be able to see kind of behind us in the background a lot of condo, apartment style units in these old brick buildings. Swing around so you can see this, Steve.
So yeah,
a lot of that going on over here. There's very little townhome inventory or starter home type inventory around here. It's really just large stately homes and condos by and large.
Any starter family stuff that you'd see in the 400 range usually needs a ton of work.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I get a little bit itchy when I go into these 1800 built homes and they're not like immaculately well kept because it's just so
you can get well into
old.
the 150, 200,000 plus for renovations just to get it livable for some of them.
For sure. Really, really cool homes. I mean, they would be awesome, totally renovated, and a lot of them are in the higher price point, of course. But yeah, so unless you're taking on a huge project, that'd be a little scary.
Yeah, so as far as pricing goes in this area, median sale price is $722.5, so it is quite high. That's pretty well above the median for the Twin Cities.
Absolutely.
As a whole, which kind of goes in line with what we've been saying, and there is a reason for that.
For sure. We're about to turn left here on Summit Avenue, so you will get to see in the background some of these, you know, million-plus homes. So that does drag up the median sale price.
Oh, certainly.
Where we met to start this video, we were outside the house that sold, the last 3 years was the house that sold for the most in this area. It was just 2.2 million was that, so.
Yeah, it's cool, almost like a Tudor style. It's got the really long, extended, like, eyebrow arch. Beautiful home, again, on a large lot. Also, as far as own versus rent goes in the Summit Hill neighborhood, 53% own to 47% rent, which Steve and I were actually both a little surprised by that.
Yeah, I would have expected a higher density of ownership, but yeah, still, I mean, there are a lot of apartments and yeah, like, you know, a fair amount of condo buildings as well, but yeah.
Yeah, you're either living in a mansion or renting an apartment, it would seem.
For sure, but yeah, just walking down Summit Avenue right now, I mean, this is one of the, like, go-to spots in all of the Twin Cities. I mean, one of the most aspirational homes.
It's idyllic.
Seriously, the most aspirational, one of the most aspirational areas that you can think of. But yeah, on Summit Avenue, longest stretch of Victorian era homes in all the United States. Yeah, taking some B-roll, check it out, and we're gonna meet up in a minute to talk pros and cons. Okay, we're still on Summit Avenue. We've just wrapped up, but we wanted to point this out too. We were walking by this incredible building. We'll just get a little shot here, but this is kind of what we're talking about with the condos, like chopped up or built into these really, really historic, beautiful home, I don't know, complexes, I guess, homes.
Yeah. And a lot of the mansions over here, I mean, the listings will actually be listed as converted mansion.
Yep.
Because some of them were so large where you'll see anywhere from 2 to, I've seen 6 units in a single family home that was divvied up, which is just remarkable. Really cool.
Yeah, I helped one of my good friends buy a condo that's a part of a converted mansion last year. Very, very cool property. But yeah, you see a lot of that here in the Summit Hill area. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. Super historic, really, really beautiful spot. Okay, what's up? We are now in the Summit Hill Community Garden. Is that what this place is called?
It is indeed.
Okay, it's a really, really beautiful park on the south side of the Summit Hill neighborhood here in St. Paul. And we're talking pros and cons of living in the Summit Hill area. Mm-hmm. Nick, why don't you start us off? What are the pros?
So pros, according to niche.com, Summit Hill is the #2 best place to live in all of St. Paul. So we'll start with that. Some pros for me personally, I really love the idyllic tree-lined streets, the fantastic architecture. Again, we've chatted about the Victorian and Craftsman style and the brownstone style condo and apartment buildings. Really just very architecturally inspired area.
Super aspirational. I mean, we've said it before. I think it's worth saying again. I mean, some of the most stately, grand, majestic homes in all of the Twin Cities, on Summit Avenue specifically, but you mean in and around Summit Hill as well.
Also for me, the accessibility. I like the accessibility of Summit Hill. You've got 94 and then also 35E. So personally, I think it's really easy to get out from a travel standpoint. And then also accessibility to amenities. The Ford Parkway area is not super far away. I know right off Aid Mill, there's a Kowalski's Market, there's a Trader Joe's. So as it relates to, you know, daily activities, getting groceries, running errands, coffee, stuff like that, plenty of that to be had.
For sure. On that note, Grand Avenue, I mean, just an awesome spot. Oh, very well. If you live in Summit Hill, it's probably walkable from pretty much anywhere. But yeah. Awesome local restaurants, you know,
Red Cow, baby.
Oh, for sure.
Tuna burger at Red Cow, shout out.
Absolutely, love that spot. But yeah, all up and down Grand Avenue, great shopping, restaurants, bars, you know, very, very cool to have that. That's like kind of cuts right through the heart of Summit Hill neighborhood. And then another big pro, I think, are the schools. I mean, you've got access to really, really high quality private and charter schools, but the public schools are pretty good here as well, especially the high schools. Central receives an A on niche.com. But yeah, I mean, for a smaller area located within like a city proper, the schools are pretty good here.
Yeah, surprisingly good. So that brings us to cons. I think probably the most glaring one is just going to be the cost of housing. I believe we had said that the median sale price was $772,500. Take that with a grain of salt. I mean, according to niche.com as well, the median home value is actually closer to $450,000. So I don't know, data, do with it what you will, but I think just anecdotally as well, there's a lot of really large, expensive homes. The condos aren't cheap either, so.
For sure, and
on housing.
Same kind of thing there. For me, a big con is the age of the houses. I mentioned it kind of in our previous segment, but anytime you get over 120, 130 years old for a single family home, there's just, you know, the older the house, the more opportunity there was for something to, you know, not as well kept, you know, and especially like the build standards were a lot different in the 1800s. Exactly. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So
combining deferred maintenance with, you know, outdated building methods,
for sure,
can be a recipe for some not so fun times.
Absolutely.
Depending.
And I mean, that's not every house, you know, that's a generalization, but you know, it's still something to think about.
The flip side of that, which we discussed as well, some of these homes that are older, if they have been maintained and the people have put money into them over the years, are really some of the most outstanding homes that we have the pleasure of viewing while doing this as a career.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, that's really well put. And then another con, I mean, we were just talking about this, this park that we're at, it is right north of 35E, so we could definitely hear, you know, some road noise there. We were on Summit before, we were talking about how it is actually a little bit louder than you would expect, you know, kind of such a residential street. Grand Avenue, bustling. So yeah, there is, I would say, a fair amount for a small area.
You might find pockets, but it's
not that
like,
quiet. Yeah.
No, it's not. And specifically Summit Avenue itself, when I was traveling over here, when Steve and I were meeting up, I did notice that they have repaved a lot of it, more so on the western side. But the street itself has been in pretty rough condition historically because it is so heavily trafficked. You do have the universities over here. You've got so much going on over here. That's just one con for me. So just the overall busyness of the area. If you want quiet, probably not for you.
For sure. Okay, so that's pros and cons. We're gonna take a little stroll and we'll pick up and do 4 fan zones. Okay, we are picking back up. We're gonna get into 4 fans of in just a second, but I wanted to say, if you wanna work with us, we'd absolutely love the opportunity to help you relocate to the Twin Cities. If you live here already, find your new home in the Twin Cities, maybe Summit Hill, who knows? But yeah, love the opportunity to help you. This is what we do. This is what we do better than anybody else. This is our thing. Helping people relocate to and find their new spot in the Twin Cities. Please reach out to thetwincities.com. It's the website. We've got a contact form. It takes 30 seconds to fill out, or you can hit us up via email, info@tothetwincities.com.
Or, what's your email, Steve?
My email is steve@tothetwincities.com, nick@tothetwincities.com. If you like the cut of our jib, hit us up. Specifically, and we will crush it for you. We will kill it for you, as Jesse would say. Okay, let's jump into it. 4 fans of. If you like the vibes, if you like what you're seeing here in Summit Hill, where else might you want to look in the Twin Cities? I think the first one that comes to my mind is Cathedral Hill, for sure. In St. Paul, similarity number 1. Number 2, very, very historic neighborhood in St. Paul, super close to Summit Hill. Very similar in terms of vibes. You know, super established, obviously historic. I already said that, but I'll say it again. And yeah, just like the housing stock, also very similar. You know, very historic single-family homes, lots of condos, you know, in huge brick buildings. Yeah, Cathedral Hill for sure.
Yep. I would also say Mac Roveland, because Summit Avenue itself does run pretty much all the way from downtown St. Paul all the way over to the Mississippi River on the west side. So you're gonna get a similar feel most of the way through there, at least on Summit specifically. Where we're at in Summit Hill, you're gonna have a higher concentration of the brownstones, the mansions. It does start to feel a little more traditionally residential as you move west, but a similar vibe, a little one more cut removed from the city, but still in the urban core.
For sure. So 2 St. Paul examples there. If you're thinking Minneapolis, I think Kenwood, we got a video coming up on that too very shortly if it hasn't posted already, but check that out. Kenwood, very, very similar in terms of just incredibly aspirational homes, beautiful, beautiful older style houses, not quite as old as Summit Hill here, not the 1800s necessarily, but city living for sure, neighborhood feel. Not as walkable as Summit Hill is, in my opinion, but has that definitely like upper tier, upper echelon kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, and trading kind of the bluff river feel for the lakes, of course.
Absolutely.
Lake of the Isles is right there. Another Minneapolis example for me, I was telling Steve, really very similar is going to be the Whittier neighborhood over just east of Lindale.
I like that example.
Main reason for that is because, again, very large stately homes combined with, you know, older brownstone apartment buildings. There's not like a ton of in between, and really the thing that I think makes it the most similar, where you have Grand Avenue, the bars and restaurants, and the goings on of that area over here, you have the famous Eat Street running right through the heart of Whittier. So I think
Nicollet, absolutely.
Exactly, the vibe is very similar over there. To Steve's point earlier, not quite as old with the architecture, but very close, early 1900s.
For sure. So yeah, a couple Minneapolis options, couple St. Paul options. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I've really enjoyed my time here in Summit Hill. Absolutely beautiful day, absolutely beautiful neighborhood. Again, if you do want to reach out, please do not hesitate. Reach out to either of us individually, Steve at tothetwincities.com, Nick at tothetwincities.com. Hit up the website, fill out the contact form. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one.